Anyone who's ever had any kind of heart issues, blood pressure issues, one of the first things your doctor is going to tell you is that you have to be more conscious about what you put in your body. A lot of times they will give you a list of foods, tell you to look out for sodium, watch out for this, watch out for that. And so consumers who have any of these issues, or consumers who want to avoid any of these issues, rely on the product labeling to tell them whether or not this is a heart-healthy food. But as we're finding out, according to a new lawsuit, sometimes companies are actually just paying to have that label on there when there is nothing heart-healthy about their food at all. Joining me now to talk about this is Scott Hardy from Top Class Actions. Scott, right now we've got the StarKist heart-healthy tuna. Big label on the can, heart-healthy. They're paying to have that label on there, aren't they?
Well, so it all depends on your interpretation of things there, Farron. StarKist is saying, no, we're not buying that label. While the plaintiffs are saying, sure looks like it. You know, the class action is stating that, you know, they didn't know that StarKist was spending money and giving money to the American Heart Association to put this label on their packages. And StarKist is saying, hey, no, we just pay them to test it. We're not guaranteed that we will get the heart healthy label just by writing a check to the American Heart Association. So that's the two sides of it. Now, how many companies pay for the AHA check mark and don't get it? That's not quite clear on this. My guess is very few are denied the AHA's label once you write them a check for their testing. But you know, we may see that as it goes through. What is another interesting point on this class action is that injunctive relief was thrown out, meaning that most likely StarKist will not have to change the labels or drop the AHA check mark on their StarKist tuna. The judge had said, because the plaintiff said, I'm not going to buy StarKist tuna anymore. And so the judge said, well, if you're not going to buy StarKist tuna anymore, whether the label is there and that little check mark is there or not doesn't impact you and your buying decision. So that is dropped from this class action. Now, were you damaged because you wouldn't have bought this tuna without the label? Yes, we do believe that there may have been financial damage there, and because you bought this thinking that it was heart healthy. The financial damages aspect of it is still active in this class actions, which means that if we see a settlement, which we probably will, that we will, most likely see a big check written by StarKist. In the past, the StarKist tuna lawsuits that we've covered had generated thousands of comments. This one, which we reported on March 27th, is up to 575 comments. And I'm sure we'll go ahead and spike up a lot more once your viewers know about it. But we'll see how this one proceeds through the courts.
What's interesting to me is two separate parts of this. First and foremost, if they don't remove that heart healthy label, because this plaintiff in particular said, I'm not going to buy it anymore regardless. So leaving the label up there, to me, just seems like you're going to have more people purchase the product only because of that label. So the judge's ruling on that is really confusing. I don't understand why, okay, we'll leave the label, but yes, you were duped by the label. Kind of just leaving that door wide open for more suits to come in down the road. But the other part, and this is the far more interesting to me, is as you touched upon there, we don't know how many companies get rejected for this label. So if this particular lawsuit is able to get into a better discovery process and actually go to the American Heart Association and say, hey, we need to see some documents about who was rejected and why they were rejected, and compare that to numbers and studies and reports that you've done on people you did approve, because we want to see what the process is here. My guess is we're not going to get to that point, because I don't think either StarKist or the AHA wants us to really know what's happening behind the scenes, do they?
Exactly. What I'm willing to bet will happen is that we'll see a settlement come out, that we'll see some cash get back into, the people who love and eat StarKist tuna, and I got friends that eat this almost on a daily basis, that we'll get some cash back in their pockets for possibly being misled, and that even though there was no injunctive relief tied to this, as part of the settlement, there will probably still be some modification to the label. So that might be the little asterisk. So you've got the AHA check mark, and it says it's been tested. And so we can say, yes, that has been tested, and now there is a little star that says StarKist paid for the testing. Now, will that happen? We'll see, but that's my guess as to what will actually happen.
Well, we will see as this thing continues to play out. Scott Hardy from Top Class Actions, always a pleasure talking to you. If anybody needs more information on this issue, follow the link in the description of this video and head over to topclassactions.com. Scott, once again, thank you very much for talking with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for your time, Farron.